Welcome to the Cheating Wife Stories channel. You are not worth my words. Rain slashes the window in violent ribbons, a staccato that pounds in my ears. I remember stormy nights like this before, but they never sounded so hostile. I swallow, tasting bile at the back of my throat. My hand trembles on the windowsill, knuckles bone white. It's like I can't steady myself. My chest is tight. My breathing is off. Short, shallow. Every part of me screams to walk away, to slam the door, get in the car, and just drive until the city's behind me. But I don't move. I stand here, a silent statue, glaring at the reflection in the glass. Her reflection. She's behind me, across the room, shifting from foot to foot, arms clamped tight over her chest. I see her lips move, but the roar of the downpour drowns out her voice. Or maybe my pulse does. I don't care what she's saying. It's just noise. Seconds crawl. My eyes flick to my phone on the table. Red flashing light. Recording. For proof, I told her. She gave me some excuse. Unintelligible. Frantic. I told her to speak louder, to repeat. Her voice rose, quivered. I told her to say it again. And she did, each time trembling more. Good. I want her to hear herself. I want to have every syllable carved into my memory, in case I ever forget what betrayal sounds like. I spin around, forcing my jaw to unclench. My fingertips feel numb from how hard I'm pressing them into the windowsill. There is a cracked mug at my feet, coffee spilled across the hardwood, swirling in a black puddle that looks almost like oil under the overhead light. I must have knocked it off the desk when I got the phone out. I can't even remember. Flashes, split-second snapshots, the sense of panic twisting in my gut. She stands there, tears in her eyes, but I don't see sadness in them, just fear. Fear that the life she built is about to shatter. Her nails bite into her arms. A tear slides down her cheek. She starts to mouth my name. I shake my head. Don't. I say, my voice somehow steady. I'm not even sure if it's truly me speaking or just some new version of me, conjured by rage and heartbreak. I look around the living room, noticing everything in a strange haze. The framed wedding photo on the mantel, us smiling in front of a white picket fence, the couch that feels strangely unfamiliar now, and that damned leather notebook lying on the coffee table, pages fanned open, mocking me with those words on page 42. You make me feel like fire, DT. I read them again. And again. And again. I used to play a game in my head. Will I survive today? Most days the answer was barely. Some days, not at all. I remember reading that line for the first time, my heart pounding in my ears. She had left it open, maybe on purpose. Hidden words in a leather journal that she casually set on our desk. I remember the panic that took hold then. And the sound of the shower in the adjacent bathroom, water beating on the tiles while my world collapsed in front of me. Now I see that same notebook, half soaked by the coffee that's spreading from the shattered mug. Its corners curl at the edges, the ink smudge. But I know those words can't be erased. They're branded. They're the reason my whole body quivers with something too big to name. Hate, heartbreak, jealousy, anguish, all vying for space in my skull. Lightning flashes through the curtains. Thunder booms a second later. She flinches, hugging herself tighter. For a second, I want to turn off the phone's recorder, throw it in a drawer, and pretend none of this ever happened. Pretend I didn't read her phrases, her confessions to him. Darren Thompson. But that's not real. And I can't hide behind illusions anymore. Tell me again, I demand quietly. Tell me about him. She swallows. Jim, please. My nostrils flare. Say his name. Darren, she whispers. Her eyes flick to the phone on the table. She knows I'm capturing every breath. Louder. Darren, she repeats, voice cracking. Darren Thompson. The name hovers between us like a poison. I stare at her, silent. She tries again. I was going to end it, I cut her off with a raised hand. You weren't. Don't lie. The hush returns, broken only by the pounding rain and distant thunder. I step over the spilled coffee, carefully placing my feet so as not to slip. Each footstep sends an echo through the room. Claire's eyes dart to the side, as though looking for an escape. But there's none here. The front door is locked, the windows rattling with the storm. We're trapped in this little universe of heartbreak, and there's no going back. I swipe my phone off the table, pressing pause on the recording. Enough proof. Enough words. I feel cold, drained, but not the kind of tired that begs for sleep. A deeper exhaustion, like my soul is wrung out. I realize that I'm no longer sure of what I feel. Anger? Yes. Betrayal? Yes. But deeper than that is something raw and hollow. I don't know what to call it, so I just stand with the phone in my hand, breathing. You are not worth my words, I say again, quieter this time, and I walk out of the room. The memory that disgusts me the most is the way she used to kiss my forehead in the mornings, like a habit, a meaningless gesture. Because now, I wonder if she always had someone else in mind, some new excitement fueling her day. The recollection churns in my stomach. Those tiny domestic touches that once felt intimate now make my skin crawl, like I've been living in a stranger's house. I step into the bedroom. The bed is unmade, sheets tangled. A few hours ago, that would have been a comfortable sight. Normal, married life. Now, it's a stage for betrayal. I see her pillow, the one I always teased her for hugging when she slept. Everything is different. The room is soaked in darkness, illuminated only by the street lamp's glow that slants through the blinds. The thunder rumbles again. I rake a hand through my hair, my scalp tingling. She follows me, hesitant. The hallway floor creaks under her weight. Jim, she begins. Let's. I don't want to hear it. I grab my old duffel from the closet and toss it on the bed, staring at it like I'm not sure what to do next. I have a choice. Stuff clothes in there and leave, or force her to leave. The rational part of me tries to surface. This is our home. My name is on the lease. I make the payments. But that's overshadowed by a single biting fact. She broke us. She edges closer, arms extended as if she's approaching a wild animal. I was lonely, she murmurs. You were so distant. The words slip around me, meaning nothing. She's told me this before, some variation of it. I work late. I'm not expressive enough. I don't engage in spontaneous romance. My jaw tightens. I can't let this spiral into an argument about my failures. Not now. My voice comes out strangely calm. Get out, I say. Give me space. She stares, uncertain. Where? Where do I go? I don't respond, just point to the door. The thunder cracks again, closer this time. The storm is practically overhead. She shakes her head as if to protest, then notices the duffel, the tension in my shoulders, the set of my jaw. She knows I'm done talking. At least for tonight. She scrambles out. I stand there, listening to her rummage around for an umbrella or car keys. Maybe both. The front door bangs open, letting in a roar of wind and rain. Then slams shut. Her footsteps vanish down the stairs. Car engine sputters to life. Headlights sweep across the windows. Then she's gone, and I'm alone in our apartment with the ghosts of our memories. The silence weighs on me. The adrenaline that kept me upright is fading. My hands shake. Rain batters the glass. The gutter outside is overflowing. Water cascades in a small waterfall. The last time we had a storm like this, we were huddled on the couch, talking about the day we'd visit Europe. We never did. And now, I'm not sure if we ever will. I glance around the bedroom. My reflection in the mirror looks hollow-eyed older, a man who doesn't recognize himself. Who am I now? I whisper, burying my face in my hands. The unstoppable swirl of thoughts tears through me. I have no idea what to feel. Everything is out of reach, drowned by the wave of betrayal. My phone buzzes. I fish it out of my pocket. An unknown number. Probably spam. I ignore it. Then it buzzes again. This time, a text from her. I'm at a motel. I'm so sorry. We need to talk. I toss the phone onto the bed without replying. My eyes stray to that folded piece of paper I keep in the nightstand. The paternity test results. I remember the day they arrived, how I kept them sealed for hours, my hands sweaty, my heart pounding. Then I opened it, read it once, read it again, felt my eyes blur with tears. Negative. Probability of paternity. 0%. That was 3 weeks ago. A secret I carried alone, until I confronted her about it this evening, after stumbling upon the notebook. Everything in me wants to hurl that page to the floor and set it on fire. But I don't. I tuck it away in the drawer, close it, and lean my forehead against the wood. The thunder rattles the building, and I let the vibrations settle in my bones. I breathe. Slowly. Mechanically. The panic recedes. I eventually dropped onto the couch sometime near dawn. Now sunlight creeps through the blinds, highlighting the open notebook on the coffee table. Page 42. You make me feel like fire, DT. I rub my eyes. The text burned into my mind. Outside, cars roll by. Ordinary morning routines unfold for everyone else in this city. But for me, the day feels like a new terrain I'm forced to navigate with no compass. A knock at the door startles me. I stand, legs stiff, and peer through the peephole. Claire's mother is on the other side. An unannounced visit. She's in her 60s, hair pinned in a neat bun, wearing that worried expression I've seen too many times. I wonder if Claire texted her, or if she sensed something was off. I open the door without a word. She steps in, glancing around as though expecting to see Claire. She fixes her eyes on me. James, is she here? I shake my head. No. She sets a hand on my arm. What happened? Claire called. Well, she left a message. She sounded upset. I stare past her, at the sullen sky. My chest tightens. I can't talk to her about it. Not now. Not this. She's safe, I say. That's all that matters. She starts to say something, but I close my eyes and speak before she can argue. I've got to get ready for work. I'm sorry. My voice is flat. I'll have her call you. Claire's mother's mouth hangs open for a moment. She probably never expected me to be so curt, but there's no space left in me for niceties. She nods slowly, turning for the door. James, if you need. I know, I say, stepping aside so she can leave. When she's gone, the apartment feels smaller. I head to the bathroom and stare at my reflection in the mirror. I haven't showered. My eyes are bloodshot. I peel off my clothes from yesterday, tossing them into the hamper like I'm discarding a piece of my old life. The water from the showerhead is lukewarm, but it does the job of rinsing away the sweat and the sticky feeling of dread. For a moment, I let my head rest against the cool tile, eyes close. I have to keep living. I have a job that demands presence, a boss who wants results, employees who rely on my leadership. My father's voice echoes from memory. Stand up like a man, James. Face the day. But he's gone now, and the day I'm facing feels like a day after a funeral. I turn off the water, step out, towel off. Each action is mechanical. I pick out a white button-down shirt and gray slacks, ignoring the deeper wrinkles in the fabric. I can't muster the energy to care. Outside, the air is crisp and damp. My car is parked along the curb, droplets still clinging to the windshield. As I drive to the office, traffic merges around me, horns blaring, tires hissing on wet pavement. The world marches on. I grip the wheel tight. My heart still throbs from last night's revelations, her confession, her notebook, the paternity test. The calm is fragile, but for the first time, I sense a direction forming. We'll have a dinner. I'll invite the entire team. Especially him. You've never asked us to come over before, says Angela, one of my colleagues, arching an eyebrow. We're huddled in the break room at noon, grabbing coffee. Something special going on. I feign a casual shrug. Claire's project is wrapping up. She wants to celebrate, so I figured we'd do it at our place. My voice sounds even, practiced. A manager making small talk. Angela sips her coffee. I'm free Friday, so sure. Thanks for the invite. I nod. Tell Darren too. I'd like him to come. A faint smile curls her lips. He never misses a free meal. He'll be happy. I force a chuckle and walk back to my desk, ignoring the swirl of emotions that mention of his name triggers. He's been working with Claire on some new campaign. Late nights, tight deadlines, lots of creative sessions. Everyone at the office knows about it, though no one suspects the truth behind their closeness. Sitting at my desk, I rub my temples. My phone buzzes. A text from Claire. Jim, talk to me. I'll come home whenever you want. I'm so sorry. Please. I inhale sharply. A part of me flares with the desire to text back, to lash out, to demand an explanation that makes sense. But no explanation will ever suffice. Instead, I tuck the phone away, turning my attention to a technical report. My eyes scan words without processing them. Emissions analysis, cost projections, deadlines. Nonsense. My mind drifts, picturing how Friday dinner will unfold. I see it. The warm glow of the chandelier in our dining room. The clink of silverware. The forced smiles. And Darren sitting across from me. Claire seated at the other end, careful not to catch his eyes. She'll try to act normal, but the tension will be thick. I imagine dropping the paternity test on the table, or maybe letting it slip that I had my DNA tested for fun. I can already picture her choking on wine, him swallowing hard. The rest of the team oblivious, or maybe politely looking away, sensing drama they don't want to be part of. The idea both repulses and intrigues me. Maybe it's twisted, but it's the only plan I have now, forcing them to face what they've done, in front of the people who think we're all just fine. My heart hammers in my chest as I lean over my desk, pressing my palms flat against the surface. The overhead fluorescent buzzes. My reflection in the black screen of the computer monitor looks haunted, older than I remember. Still, a single, unwavering thought keeps me focused. I can't let them slip away without consequences. Not after all the lies. Friday arrives faster than I expect. I spend the day in a kind of numb haze at the office, then drive home with a pounding head. To my surprise, Claire's car is parked in the driveway when I pull up. The front porch light is on, a warm glow against the dusky sky. I step out of my sedan, walking slowly toward the door. My fists tighten. If she's inside, she's probably setting the table or rearranging throw pillows, trying to create a picture-perfect evening. I hesitate at the threshold before letting myself in. The house smells of roasted garlic and herbs. She emerges from the kitchen in an apron, her hair pinned back. She looks up, eyes flicking to mine, cautious. Jim, she starts, carefully. I came earlier. I wanted to make dinner for your team. Something nice. I nod, slipping off my shoes. Fine. She wipes her hands on the apron. Listen, about the other night. I hold up a hand. We'll talk later. She bites her lip but doesn't push. Instead, she gestures toward the kitchen. I made lasagna, roasted vegetables, a salad. There's wine chilling in the fridge. I can't help the bitterness that creeps into my voice. Of course. How domestic. The line stings the air, but she only lowers her gaze. We're silent for a moment. Then the doorbell rings. I step aside, letting her scurry to answer. Angela and two others from my project team filter in, shaking off the chill from the night air. Handshakes, polite greetings. One of them hands me a bottle of red wine. I murmur thanks. And then, behind them, Darren Thompson steps through the doorway. My pulse spikes. He's in a slim-fit blazer, hair combed in that artful, messy style. He meets my eyes briefly, his smile faltering. James, he says, voice forced. Thanks for having us. I nod, stepping back. You're welcome. He glances nervously around the living room. probably looking for Claire. When she appears to greet the others, her gaze glances off him, careful not to linger. I see his shoulders tense. Good. Let him sweat. I lead them to the dining room, trying to appear the gracious host. The overhead light casts a warm glow on the large table I set up. Extra chairs for everyone. I see Claire fussing with the plates, smoothing the tablecloth. She's always been good at presentation, after all. We settle in. People talk about work, about the crazy deadlines, about weekend plans. Laughter floats around, but it feels hollow to me. Darren jokes with Angela about some design fiasco, though he occasionally sneaks a glance at Claire, who keeps her head down. A tension simmers in the air. I can sense it, like electricity before a thunderstorm. Dinner is served. I pour wine, hand steady, ignoring the swirl in my stomach. I feel removed, like I'm watching a play from the wings, seeing each character step up to deliver lines. My lines are scripted in my head, leading questions, subtle hints. So, Darren, I say in a casual tone once everyone's eating, heard you and Claire have been pulling some late nights at the studio. How's that going? He glances up, nearly choking on a sip of wine. Oh, it's productive. He manages. Claire keeps her eyes fixed on her plate. Someone else pipes up about how the two of them have been unstoppable at brainstorming sessions. I nod, swirling the wine in my glass. That's great, I remark. That synergy must feel almost fiery. His eyes snap to mine, cheeks coloring slightly. Claire coughs, reaching for a napkin. I set my glass down slowly. The air thickens. Someone tries to redirect the conversation. So James, about that new project. I hold up a finger, interrupting. The dryness in my throat aches, but I push through. Actually, I say, I've got something interesting to share. I reach into the inside pocket of my blazer and pull out a folded sheet. My mind flickers back to the phrase on page 42. You make me feel like fire, DT. And now, the paternity test. 2 sets of letters that turned my life upside down. I place the paper on the table, but I don't unfold it. I took one of those DNA kits, I say, forcing a light tone. For fun. You know those mail-in things. The rest of the team chuckles politely, except Darren and Claire. I see her spine go rigid. She sips her wine to cover her shaking hand. Darren sets his fork down slowly. Anyway, I continue. The results were fascinating. I let the silence expand for a moment, the tension climbing. My gaze shifts from Claire to Darren. It's wild what you find out. Claire abruptly coughs again, cheeks flushing. She sets her glass down, nearly knocking it over. Darren's face goes pale. The others look at us, confused but politely trying to smile. They have no clue. I almost pity them. Everything all right? Angela asks, glancing at Claire. Claire forces a tight nod. Just went down the wrong pipe. Her voice cracks. I lean back in my chair, crossing my arms. These tests can reveal paternal lines, half-siblings you didn't know about, or even help you confirm if you're the father off. Claire's arm jerks, sending her wine glass toppling. Red liquid floods across the tablecloth, dripping onto the floor. Darren's fork clatters to his plate. The rest of the guests freeze, a collective intake of breath. That's enough. I don't need to go further. I see it in their eyes. Claire's panic, Darren's sudden terror. My chest feels both heavy and strangely liberated. They've practically confessed without speaking a word. Angela stands, trying to help Claire clean up. The others shift uncomfortably, uncertain about the sudden tension. Darren avoids my gaze entirely, fiddling with a napkin, silent. The hush is suffocating. Finally, someone murmurs about leaving early, realizing the evening has taken a bizarre turn. Polite goodbyes are muttered. The group disperses faster than I can blink. Soon, the door closes behind them, and the house is still. I watch from the hall window as cars drive away, headlights bobbing into the dark. Darren is the last one out, practically stumbling over the porch step. Claire stands in the foyer, her shoulders shaking. She's not crying. She's too stunned, too rattled to produce tears. I turn to her. She meets my eyes, her chest rising and falling with shallow breaths. We stare at each other for a moment, like two strangers forced to share the same space. And in that silence, I realize something. The love I once felt is gone, replaced by a vacuum where my heart should be. I break the silence. Get out. I say again. My voice is calm, measured. This time, you don't come back. She opens her mouth, closes it, then moves to speak again. I can see the heartbreak in her face, or maybe it's desperation. She tries to reach for me, but I step away. There's nothing left to say. Eventually, she retreats out the door, leaving behind a chaotic dining room. Spilled wine, half-eaten plates, shattered illusions. I watch her taillights vanish into the night, feeling the dryness settle in my throat. I'm alone again, but this time I feel strangely alive, the power throbbing in my veins. She humiliated me. I humiliated her. Part of me is disgusted by that twisted sense of triumph. Another part is relieved, like I finally have control over my life. The night is quiet, save for the faint drip of the kitchen faucet. I wander through the house, turning off lights. My reflection in the dark windows stares back, unreadable. I open the fridge, see the leftover lasagna we never touched. I slam the door shut, appetite gone. I step into the bedroom. The sheets are changed. She must have done it before the dinner. They smell of lavender fabric softener. The paternity test results lie on my dresser, glaring at me. My phone is plugged in on the nightstand. It's blinking with new messages, probably from Claire. I ignore it. I reach into the closet, pulling out an old box I haven't touched in years. Inside is a leather-bound journal I used to keep in college, back when I had dreams of traveling, building something meaningful. Hopes bigger than the small life I ended up leading. I sit on the edge of the bed, flipping through the yellowed pages, my handwriting scrawled across each line. Ideas, sketches, random bits of poetry I try to compose. I cringe at how naive I sound in them, but there's a spark there, a sense of identity I lost along the way. What am I now? A husband with no wife, a father to no child. The words crushed me. For a moment, I press my forehead to my knees, letting the weight settle. I don't cry, I can't. Instead, the emptiness in my chest grows. I inhale, exhale. No tears come. Eventually, I gather the strength to stand. I stare at the wedding photos on the wall. My parents are in a couple of them. My father's proud grin, my mother's watery eyes. Dad died 5 years ago, and it left a hole in me that never fully healed. Now, I wonder what he would say about all this. Maybe he'd tell me to pick myself up again, keep living. Or maybe he'd rage at Claire for betraying me. But he's not here, and it's just me, facing an uncertain future. Days pass. I bury myself in work, ignoring the calls. She tries to come over, pounding on the door, but I don't open it. I spot Darren once at the office cafeteria. He looks haggard, with circles under his eyes. He tries to catch my gaze, maybe to talk, but I walk right past him. He doesn't follow. Good. Then, a few weeks later, I get the final push. A legal letter from her attorney, requesting a discussion about the dissolution of our marriage. Sitting at my desk, I read it, my expression blank. My coworker Angela knocks softly on the office door, asking if everything's okay. I wave her off. I can't handle sympathy. I close the door and sink into my chair, rereading the letter until my eyes burn. It's an inevitable step, but it carves a hollow in my gut. I toss the letter aside and lean forward, elbows on my desk. The paternity test was enough to prove I'm not responsible for the child she carries, if she still carries it. She might not even be pregnant anymore. I don't know. I stopped asking. The days are an avalanche of documents, phone calls, arranged meetings that I avoid. Everything's mechanical. My nights are spent in a small bedroom on the second floor of a cheap motel. I left the house to her for the moment. Couldn't stand sleeping in that bed anymore. Until one evening, I drive back to the house I pay for. To reclaim it, or to burn it down. I don't know. The sun is setting by the time I arrive, painting the sky a bruised orange. I notice Darren's car parked down the street. My teeth clench. I stride across the lawn, a duffel bag over my shoulder. The front door is unlocked. I push it open. They're in the living room, talking in low voices. He stands near the mantel. She's pacing the floor. At the sound of the door, they both freeze. Claire's eyes widen. Darren's face goes ashen. I drop my bag by the entrance, close the door behind me. Silence. I step toward them. Expression calm. So calm it scares me. Claire tries to speak, but no sound comes out. Darren's fists tighten at his sides, and I see a flicker of guilt, or fear, or both, cross his features. "Why are you here?" I ask, voice low, addressing him. He tries to form a sentence. Claire needed help. She was packing some. I hold up a hand. "Stop." He shuts up, glancing at Claire. She looks at me with trembling lips. There's so much unsaid. I don't have the energy to parse it anymore. I walk to the coffee table, the same spot where that cursed notebook once lay. It's clean now, everything neat. On top is a small box, taped shut, probably her things. I exhale. "You want to talk about it?" I ask, though my voice is flat. "Now's your chance." She steps closer, swallowing. "We didn't plan for any of this. It just—" "Stop," I say again. I look at Darren. His gaze is locked on the floor. "You owe me nothing. You made your choices." He tries to speak, but I cut him off. "Get out." He hesitates, searching Claire's face. She nods, tears forming. He quietly slips past me, heading for the door. The moment it closes, the living room shrinks around us. Claire stands there, tears sliding down her cheeks, arms at her sides in defeat. I drop onto the couch. "Well?" My voice is hoarse. "What do you want?" "I just want to make things right," she whispers. A bitter laugh escapes me. "Nothing will ever be right again." She approaches, dropping to her knees in front of me, resting her hands on mine. I don't flinch. I don't move. I simply watch her. My mind is a void, memories swirling. Her kisses, her laughter, her betrayal. "I know you hate me," she says. I stare at her, unblinking. Do I hate her, or do I just feel nothing? Finally, I pull my hands away. "Maybe I do," I murmur. "Doesn't matter." A long silence stretches between us. She wipes her tears, struggling to find the right words. I don't help. Let her fight with the emptiness. Let her drown in it. Eventually, she stands, shoulders slumped. "I'm leaving," she announces, voice trembling. "I'll be at a friend's. If you want to talk about the divorce, call me." She gathers the box from the table, heads to the door. Before stepping out, she looks back, eyes hollow. "I'm so sorry, Jim." The door opens, then closes, and she's gone. Gone from this house, from my life, like a ghost that never should have been here. I sit in the dim light, feeling my heart pounding, noticing how the curtains sway with the breeze. I used to think I'd scream, break things, do something dramatic if she left. But the rage has burned out, leaving only cold ashes. I realize with a dull sense of irony that I survived the final blow. The panic is gone, replaced by a calm that's almost terrifying. Weeks slip by. Papers are signed. Attorneys exchange emails. I show up to court once, wearing a suit that fits too loosely. She's there, speaking in hushed tones to her lawyer. We exchange minimal words, just enough to finalize what used to be a marriage. Outside the courthouse, the autumn wind is brisk. Leaves swirl around my shoes. She lingers near the steps, as though wanting one last conversation. I stand there, stone-faced, waiting for her to speak first. "You were a good husband," she says after a moment. I hope you can find peace." My lips twist in a sad imitation of a smile. Peace. I let the word hang. Sure. She nods, tears in her eyes, then turns and descends the steps. I watch until she disappears around the corner. Then I exhale a breath I didn't know I was holding. That night, I pack a suitcase, not a duffel this time, an actual suitcase that I bought online. I stick my father's old fishing rod in the trunk of my car. I don't know where I'm going, but I can't stay here. The city feels suffocating, the house an empty shell. My phone rings once, her number, but I let it go to voicemail. The message icon blinks, but I don't play it. I take one last walk through the house. Dust motes swirl in the sunlight. The walls are bare. I took down every photo. The closet is half empty, her side cleared out. The bed is stripped to the mattress. I pause by the window, looking out at the gray sky. I remember that stormy night. The coffee mug crashing to the floor. Her stammering apologies. My phone set to record. The pounding rain. My life unraveling. I don't know who I am now, but that might be okay. Maybe I'll find out somewhere down the road, away from these walls. I lock up and get into the car, hands steady on the wheel. My phone buzzes again. I ignore it, start the engine, and drive. 2 hours later, I'm on the highway, farmland stretching around me. The radio is silent, just the hum of tires on asphalt. My head is surprisingly clear. I think about Darren's face when I mentioned the DNA test, how he paled. I think about Claire's eyes, the tears that refused to stop. I think about the part of me that felt satisfied, seeing them squirm. Maybe I tapped into a darker side of myself, but now it doesn't matter, because I'm free. At a rest stop, I pull over. I lean on the hood of my car, gazing out at a row of trees half turned gold by the changing season. The wind is cold but not unbearable. I breathe in the scent of pines and damp leaves. I close my eyes, and for a moment, an echo of regret tries to surface. Regret for the years I invested, for the marriage I thought I had. But I push it away. My chest feels hollow yet oddly light, like a balloon whose string was cut. You make me feel like fire, she wrote to him. But fire burns out. Ashes remain. And from ashes, maybe something new can grow. I return to the car, start the engine again, and merge back onto the highway. The future is unknown, and I'm alone. My heart is battered, scorched, maybe beyond repair. But as I watch the horizon unfold, mile after mile, I realize there's a strange relief in that. My illusions are gone, replaced by an unblinking clarity. For the first time, I truly survived. And that might just be enough. I keep driving. Past the farmland, past small towns, past the baggage of my old life. There's no frantic speed, no trembling hands. My grip on the steering wheel is firm. The sky darkens overhead. Another storm approaching. Lightning flickers in the distance. Thunder, a low growl, circles the horizon. I can smell the moisture in the air, the promise of rain. It's coming, relentless. But tonight, I'm ready. Because now I love something else. Myself. And finally, that is all that matters.